Hello and welcome to the Arise interview, where we take time to reflect on the big stories from the news and on the fortunes and affairs of the world in an hour of conversation with commentators, analysts and thought leaders. I'm Charles Anyegulu. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, not many people outside Nigeria and possibly West Africa are paying much attention to the growing crisis in Nigeria's southeast region, but there's been increasing unrest and violence among the people there, who have for long said they're being sidelined, marginalized and denied their fair share of political power. Well, now that agitation has assumed an armed dimension, with a spate of attacks on police stations and prisons and several police officers killed. It's prompted a crackdown from Nigeria's security agencies, though the separatist group they accuse of violence, the Indigenous People of Biafra, or IPOB, has denied responsibility for the attacks. So, how dangerous is what is happening in the southeast, and what will it take to restore peace there? We'll speak to a former governor of Enugu State, Okwesilieze Nwodo, who is from the southeast, and to the former Inspector General of the Nigerian Police Force, Suleiman Abba, coming up. It's called Operation Restore Peace, a massive action launched by the Nigerian police in the southeast region, ostensibly aimed at putting a stop to rising violence there that the police blame on separatists. It includes a spate of attacks targeting the police themselves and involving a series of killings of police officers in the region, as well as a jailbreak of nearly 2,000 prisoners in the city of Owerri in April. The Nigerian authorities blame a banned separatist group, the Indigenous People of Biafra, or IPOB, and the group's armed wing, the Eastern Security Network, for the attacks. But the group has denied that it is responsible. According to a statement, the police said that Operation Restore Peace will confront criminal elements and address crimes such as banditry, kidnapping and armed robbery, aiming to roll back what the police called the murderous attacks, violence, proliferation of weapons and other threats to law and order occasioned by the separatist agenda.
The people of South Zone in recent years has been witnessing increasing cases of kidnapping, armed robbery and related violence. This trend has of late been laced with separatist agitation following the infiltration of the zone by the Indigenous People of Biafra and its armed wing. The key factor in addressing the prevailing security threats in the South is that we should, as a people, be determined to build a consensus partner in condemning any act of criminality and resolve to work with the police and other security agencies towards identifying, isolating and bringing the criminal elements within our communities to deserve justice. The Operation RP, the launch of which we are witnessing today, was conceptualized to achieve this goal.
It's a big task for you. And you are coming at a time there's a transition period. So you can see that it is not going to be easy. But with God, everything is possible. This is a period of temptation. While you are doing your best to restore peace, we politicians will come with our own to see how we sabotage the security architecture. It's on record to tell you that this state is the highest state that they have changed CPs. Why? Politician goes to Abuja, Aji, remove this man. Aji is okay, I remove him. You change the security architecture planned by the other person that was here. Now, if you continue to do that, people will lose confidence. Don't allow us politicians to tell you that if you don't do this, you will not be confirmed as substantive Inspector General of Police. It is God who gives power.
Well, for more on Operation Restore Peace and its implications for Nigeria's southeast region, I'm joined now from Enugu by the former chairman of the Opposition People's Democratic Party, Dr. Okwesilieze Nwodo, who's also a former governor of Enugu State. Thank you very much indeed, Governor, for joining us. And I apologize to the viewers. It's a very dodgy internet line that you've got out of Enugu there. But given the importance of this issue, we felt it was proper to go ahead and have the chat. And of course, given the value of the quality of analysis we expect from you, we went ahead to do it. So thank you very much indeed for joining us. And what's your reaction to the Nigerian police launching Operation Restore Peace in the southeast? Do you agree that it is a necessary move to put a stop to rising violence and crime there, as the police put it?
Thank you, Charles, for giving me this opportunity to join you on this program. We in the southeast, especially the leadership, are extremely worried about the security situation in our area. We're equally worried because as this is escalating, we are having difficult discordant tunes. The Nigerian police is accusing the Indigenous People of Biafra and their Eastern Security network as being responsible for the mayhem at the police stations. Let me say quickly that there is nobody, not one person in the southeast, who supports the mayhem on police stations and the rehabilitation centers. No, we don't support that. We don't support any type of violence at all. Not to talk about violence against the police. It's not in our own interest. It is not going to improve security in the southeast, and we condemn it. Having said so, the Indigenous People of Biafra have consistently denied being responsible for burning police stations, killing policemen, and attacking rehabilitation centers. Indeed, recently, 2 gentlemen were apprehended and linked to this arson that is going on. And it is remarkable that both gentlemen were not from the southeast. They were from the northern part of Nigeria. So we are indeed in a state of confusion. Who is responsible for what is going on in our police stations? Now, that is something for our intelligence service and the police to actually find out who are responsible for this. Because there is already a great level of loss of confidence by the people of the southeast on our Nigerian police force. And this is primarily because the southeast is policed as if it was a conquered zone. You cannot move more than 200 yards in the southeast without a police station, without, a police checkpoint or military checkpoint or one checkpoint or the other. And the people are constantly being harassed, intimidated, and what's the right word now? They're being extorted on by these security agencies. So the people have lost confidence. They don't see the police as their friend. They don't see the police as protecting them. They see our police as exploiting them. And of course, all of this police brutality at some stage lends its way to what we know as NSAS in our country, a chapter which we would not like to revisit. But this NSAS problem, I think that the part of the region in our country where the highest police brutality was experienced was in the southeast.
Right.
Now,
Okay. I'm just going to come in there, Chief Nwodo, because we do know that armed groups have carried out a spate of attacks on police. They've carried out a series of killings of police officers in the region in recent months, and even mounted a jailbreak of more than 1,800 inmates in Owerri in April. So clearly, the police had to act.
Yes, I'm happy that the police is acting. But what we need to do is to examine carefully how the police is acting, because it will worsen the situation of loss of confidence of the people in our police force if by acting a lot of innocent young men and young people are killed who have no hand in what is going on and are being labeled to be either IPOB or Eastern Security Network members. So
okay, let me just leap in there. I apologize for interrupting you, but I want to get to this before we take a break. Do you agree with the police that it is IPOB and ESN that are responsible for these attacks, or is it unclear to you?
I am not sure that they are responsible, because they have consistently denied that they are not responsible. And we haven't been given any proof that they are responsible.
Okay, because I mean, as you said, the Nigerian authorities blame the IPOB and their armed wing ESN for these attacks, but it is your sense that it is not, well, you're not clear on it, basically. Stay with us, Chief Nwodo. Would like to talk with you some more, and I apologize to our viewers for that very dodgy internet line from Enugu, but as I said, the issues under discussion are extremely important. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with the former governor of Enugu State, Okwesilieze Nwodo, about the latest unrest and police action in Nigeria's southeast region. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Enyegolu. Now, as you may know, the population of Nigeria's southeast region is predominantly Igbo, a group that led the secession of the area known as Biafra from Nigeria in 1967. It sparked an ethnic conflict that killed 1 million people and ended with the defeat of the separatist Biafra state in 1970. More recently, in the last few years, the group known as the Indigenous People of Biafra, or IPOB, has spearheaded efforts to revive Biafra and has prompted a crackdown from Nigerian security agencies who've accused IPOB of assuming an armed dimension that's targeted the police, political and community leaders, and critical infrastructure, and even of orchestrating a jailbreak of 1,800 inmates in the Imo State capital, Owerri. Accusations the group denies.
Consequently, we shall be collaborating closely with the armed forces, the intelligence community, and other sister security agencies in this operation. To the police officers and men deployed on this special operation, I charge you all to use your deployment as a call to national duty. The force leadership and indeed the entire nation are looking out for two major things or outcomes from you as you discharge this duty. First, you are expected to stabilize the security order in the South in the shortest possible time. Second, to be professional in your conduct as you strive to attain these objectives. This requires that you respect the rights of citizens and undertake the operation within the dictates of the law. You are charged to be civil with the law-abiding citizens, but firm and ruthless with criminal elements and successions.
And the former chairman of the opposition People's Democratic Party, Dr. Okwesilieze Nwodo, who's also a former governor of Enugu State, is still with me on that rather dodgy line from Enugu. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us. And what's the mood, Chief Nwodo, in the southeast where you are, following the onset of that Operation Restore Peace? Because the language from the police, sounded blood-curdling. They talk about rolling back the murderous attacks, violence and proliferation of weapons and other threats of law and order occasioned by what they call the separatist agenda. It sounded like a heavyweight showdown, although the acting Inspector General also called on the police to be professional.
Well, we pray that the police is professional, because if the police is not professional in the discharge of this duty, it can only escalate situations. You are dealing with a population that has long lost confidence in the police being their friends. And if you use a serious crackdown and more innocent people are gunned down by the police, it will definitely not restore peace. I believe that the best way to restore peace in the Southeast is a constructive engagement with the people. What are the grievances of even the IPOB, why they want to leave Nigeria? Many of us in the Southeast believe in one Nigeria. And I think that in a dialogue by the federal government with the IPOB, they may also convince them why they need to remain back in Nigeria, because there is something to look forward to. We, the leadership in the Southeast, have done our very best to restrain these young men, that violence is definitely not going to be the answer if we want to achieve Biafra. If any part of Nigeria would like to leave Nigeria at this time, it must be done at the negotiating table, free of violence, and maybe through plebiscites and through people being asked exactly what they want, whether they want to stay or whether they want to leave. But this is critical at this time to engage the IPOB. If we find out what are their grievances and these can be addressed, definitely there will be lasting peace, rather than unleashing the armament of the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army on a lot of young innocent people who may not share even in the philosophy of the IPOB. That's my advice at this time.
Right. And just as you know, Chief Nwodo, we have an international audience. We've got a lot of people watching in Europe and across the rest of Africa who may not know the history of all of this. So in terms of the provenance of this apparent conflict, the southeast population is predominantly Igbo, the group that attempted to secede from Nigeria in 1967 as the Republic of Biafra. And IPOB's efforts to revive Biafra have prompted a crackdown from the police and the army, which is what has brought things to this point. Is that broadly correct?
That is generally correct. There is no doubt that the Igbos had very good reason to want to secede from Nigeria. Nigeria then unleashed the Nigeria-Biafra War, which at the end of it brought the Igbos back to Nigeria. Having been brought back to Nigeria, we are promised rehabilitation, restoration, and the rebuilding of our damaged infrastructure as a result of the war. The 3 Rs that were proposed by General Gowan. Unfortunately, the implementation of those 3 Rs was more in the breach. Now, going to 60 years down the line, since after the Civil War, there has been more of marginalization of the people of the Southeast. There has been more of deprivation by the federal government of Nigeria. Certain positions in Nigeria, there is a definite federal government policy to exclude the Southeast from those positions. And the thing has come to a climax at this time with the leadership we have in the country today. Before this time, the agitation for Biafra had completely disappeared. But it has now, there's a resurge of that demand. But young people who cannot find jobs and who believe they're not being treated as equal partners in the Nigerian Federation. Appointments are made by the federal government which totally exclude the people of the Southeast. And these are strategic appointments by the federal government, especially in the security agencies. So there's a great loss of confidence by these young people that they have an equal opportunity with their peers in the country for a just and equitable federation. And this has agitated them to begin the fight again for Biafra. But as I say, the leadership in the Southeast do not believe that a violent agitation is the way forward. And we have, to a large extent, to a very large extent, restrained these young people from violence. And they have denied consistently that they're not the ones that are burning down the police stations. And people who are known as unknown gunmen, at least 2 people have been apprehended, who are not even from the Southeast.
Okay, well, but nevertheless, Chief, they have not denied that their agitation has assumed an armed dimension. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay with us. You're watching The Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat about the unrest and police action in Nigeria's southeast region. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview, where we speak to the newsmakers as well as ordinary people doing extraordinary things around the world and featuring the voices at the heart of the stories. I'm Charles Aniegolu. Now, as you may have heard, the acting Inspector General of the Nigerian Police, Suleiman Abba, has launched Operation Restore Peace in the southeast, charging the police to take the battle to the doorsteps of what he called criminal elements in the region. Operation Restore Peace is part of the Nigerian government's attempts to address growing insecurity, attacks on its security infrastructure, and secessionist agitation in the region. To quote him, the police chief blamed the attacks on the conduct of the separatist group, the Indigenous People of Biafra, or IPOB, and its armed wing, the Eastern Security Network, or ESN. He said both were a major security threat in the region. President Buhari has ordered the police to restore law and order across the country, saying it was urgent to secure life and property in Nigeria, and that the operation in the southeast was part of a wider campaign to do so. And the former chairman of the opposition People's Democratic Party, Dr. Okwesilieze Nwodo, who's also a former governor of Enugu State, is still with me on the line from Enugu. Thank you very much indeed, Chief Nwodo, for staying with us. And before we went on break, we were talking about the fact that IPOB has now assumed, certainly according to the authorities, an armed dimension. Do you agree with that assessment, and that they're not just attacking police and the army? You already said it's not clear that they are, but that they're also targeting important political and community leaders within the Southeast region.
You know, what we know of IPOB establishing the Eastern Security Network, IPOB was very, very clear about the reason why the Eastern Security Network was established. It was supposed to be along the same line with other security networks that were being established in various states. The difference is that in those states, the state governments were taking the lead. But you know, across the country, the herdsmen have actually caused mayhem in this country. A situation that has led a lot of states now to look inwards, because the Nigerian police has been overstretched and has become incapable of not only dealing with civil unrest, but also dealing with these armed bandits and herdsmen who are sacking villages, where people are being raped, where people are being kidnapped. And therefore, in the Southeast, IPOB felt that they too should establish some security network to hunt down these AK-47 carrying bandits and herdsmen. That was the impression that they gave. And it was not different from what was going on elsewhere. Now, you know that the governors of the Southeast, meeting recently in Owerri, have also agreed to establish a regional defense force, which they named Bubago. I can tell you quite clearly, because IPOB went ahead of the governors to establish the Eastern Security Network. The people have more confidence in that network in defending them against the bandits and the armed herdsmen. They have more confidence that Eastern Security Network will do a better job than Bubago. Now, we are in the process, through the Ohanese leadership, to tell them that both establishments aim to achieve the same thing, to keep our region safe. And if we are working on the same platform of keeping our region safe, whether you call it Eastern Security Network, you call it forest guards, you call them vigilante groups, or you call them a Bubago, all these things should now come together and work together to keep the region safe, just like Amatokun in the southwest. That is.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say that it all sounds monstrously confusing. I mean, you've got all these disparate elements and all these security groups. You're talking about the Eastern, network. You're talking about Ebube Agu, which is the security outfit set up by the governors of the Southeast. And the governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, has been urging the police to investigate what he called the activities of disgruntled politicians in solving the security problems in the state. He alleged that the situation had gone beyond IPOB, which has severally denied attacking security agents and destroying public infrastructure. Do you think, Chief Nwodo, that disgruntled politicians could be behind at least some of these attacks, as David Umahi has alleged?
Well, you know, it was not just David Umahi, even in Imo State, at the beginning of this mayhem in Imo State, the governor also accused his political enemies. My honest impression is that that is stretching the matter too far. I don't think that any politician in the Southeast will want to endanger the lives of his people by creating this kind of monstrous problem of attacking police stations or going into villages to go and attack innocent villagers. What will be the gain? What will be the gain? And if there was supposed to be a gain, these politicians will not be hiding. They should be at the forefront because there's something popular to gain. There is political mileage to cover. And you can't be causing problem when you have no political mileage to cover, you have nothing to gain, you are not proud of it. I really think very difficult to believe that any politician will take this as a way of gaining political popularity amongst our people. Nobody can congratulate any politician for organizing people to go and burn police stations. If we know who you are and it is proved that you did that, nobody will have sympathy for you. If you do what happened in Ebonyi State, I don't know whether you saw the gruesome pictures of the murdered villagers, you know, and you tell me that that is something that was set up by a political opponent to gain what? What the popularity to gain by doing that? I find it very difficult, very hard to believe that a politician will engage in this because I don't know what is in it for him to do a thing like that. If you want to fight their political enemies, we know how this is done. We know how this.
Right. It looks like.
Yes. And if it's not doing well, and people believe that what you're telling them that the politician in power is not doing well, they will like to vote him out. But how many policemen vote during elections? They're doing election duties. How many of them are even from the Southeast that are working in the Southeast? How will killing them give you political popularity and help you to win an election? I find it difficult to believe that this is the handwork of politicians.
Now, Chief Nwodo, you once said on this same program, the Arise interview, that if the Southeast doesn't get the presidency in 2023, when Nigeria is due for its next general election, the Igbo politicians will join activists and radicals in demanding a republic of Biafra. Where do you see things at present with regard to that?
Well, we in the PDP, let me start from there, we're putting a lot of pressure on our party. PDP has enjoyed its maximum support in the Southeast. Right from when it was formed in 1998, 1999. And we are demanding that with this support we have given to PDP and the presidency of Nigeria having rotated to other regions of Nigeria, it is about time that the Southeast was given of the country. We are doing all that we can to convince our party that the next president by the PDP should come from the Southeast. So we also think that the APC even has a better case than PDP because the serving president now is from the North and is from the APC. And it would be unfortunate for the APC to continue to produce another northern president after Buhari without allowing the Southeast to produce one. The Southwest has already done so, and so has the South-South. So I think that there is a compelling and convincing evidence on the ground. And I have always said, the security problems in the Southeast will immediately disappear the very moment that a Southeasterner is president of Nigeria, for many reasons. Number one, that the most marginalized and traumatized people in Nigeria as a result of not having a balanced federation. Number two, they are the only region in Nigeria that have 5 states, others have 6 and 7. And that translates to the amount of money that comes to the Southeast for development. Because when the money is shared at the end of every month, it is between the federal government, the state governments, and local governments. And we have the smallest number of local governments and states, and therefore the smallest revenue available to us to develop our region. Again, I think it is quite clear and it is self-evident in our country that when you talk about marginalization, the first region that comes to your mind is Southeast. And I've said it even on this interview. When you come to political appointments, when you come to appointments in the security agencies, when you come to anything that Nigeria does, Southeast gets the least attention. And all these will be solved if a president was to come from here. Finally, the Southeast are the people who create the cement that glues Nigeria together. Because you find them in every village in Nigeria. Somebody said to me recently, there are 164 countries on earth, and Igbos are present in each and every one of them.
Okay.
Now, an Igbo president.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chief Nwodo. We will continue this chat in a minute, so please stay with us. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with the former governor of Enugu State, Okwesilieze Nwodo, about the latest unrest and police action in Nigeria's southeast region. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Aniegolu, and our focus today is on the growing crisis in Nigeria's southeast region. There's been increasing unrest and violence among the people there, predominantly of the Igbo ethnic group. They have for long said they're being sidelined, marginalized, and denied their fair share of political power. Well, now that agitation is said to have assumed an armed dimension, with a spate of attacks on police stations and prisons and several police officers killed. It's prompted a crackdown from Nigeria's security agencies, though the separatist group they accuse of violence, the Indigenous People of Biafra, or IPOB, has denied responsibility for the attacks. So how dangerous is what is happening in the southeast, and what will it take to restore peace there? And the former chairman of the opposition People's Democratic Party, Dr. Okwesilieze Nwodo, who's also a former governor of Enugu State, is still with me on the line from Enugu. And just before we return to him, let me quickly apologize to our viewers, because we're supposed to have Suleiman Abba, the former Inspector General of Police in Nigeria and current chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund, but unfortunately he got tied up in a meeting, or tied down, depending on how you want to look at it, and he apologized profusely and was happy to reschedule for another day. He simply was not able to get out of a very important, very high level meeting, so we concede that to him. But as I said, the former governor of Enugu State, Chief Okwesilieze Nwodo, is still with me on the line from Enugu. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us. And before we went away, you were talking about the issue of an Igbo presidency. You're certainly a president from the southeast in 2023. Please continue.
Yes, I was giving you reasons why the country should look for a president from the Southeast. And I just said that we are the cement that hold our country together because we're in every village in this country. Now, a president of Southeast extraction will hardly pursue a policy or a marginalization policy, to be more specific, to any part of Nigeria, or any policy indeed that will put the lives of Igbos in any part of Nigeria at risk or in danger. So I believe that it is important to make that point, that an Igbo president at this time in Nigeria will most likely heal the wounds in all parts of Nigeria, restore peace and confidence in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that we can still have unity and progress. Now, I also want to mention that the Igbos are naturally endowed with entrepreneurship. This entrepreneurship can be seen in the development that is going on. Yeah, we can also say that, I can also assure you that the development in the Southeast is a clear indication of the entrepreneurship of our people. Remember that at the end of the Nigerian Civil War, no matter how much an Igbo man had in his bank account, Nigeria gave him 20 pounds to start life all over again. But if you come to the Southeast, you'll be amazed at the amount of development that has taken place since the end of the war, starting with 20 pounds. If you go to Lagos and Abuja, 70% of the development there are powered by Igbos. And this is true of most of the major cities across the country. Bringing this type of entrepreneurship and acumen is what Nigeria needs at a time that our economy is at a very, very low ebb. That makes another strong case for a Southeast president at this time. So I think that we have a very compelling argument to convince both the APC and the PDP to look towards the Southeast for the next president of Nigeria.
Well, that's an interesting assessments that you've given there, because I mean, some people would say that why does one need to be president, or certainly president from that region? I mean, the things you mentioned have been done in spite of the Igbos not being president. So why is it absolutely necessary, if that is to continue, for them to be president? But let me get to this point, this next point, before we have to go. Do you think that there is an element of growing inter-ethnic intolerance, not just in the Southeast, but across Nigeria, that is fueling greater tension across the country as elections approach?
Yeah, I believe that is very true, because we have gotten to a point in Nigeria where most of the major ethnic components of the country are losing confidence in the federal government. And the agitation for secession is not only now in the Southeast, but across the country. Most people will tell you they are tired of Nigeria. They just want to go and start their own country and manage their own affairs. They don't have confidence in Nigeria anymore. I think this is very sad. And I believe, like I said, one stroke that can solve all of this is for the major political parties to look towards the Southeast, because the man who is most hurt by this discrimination and by the marginalization, when he has been consoled, others have hope that they too will be consoled. Two,
do you think, Chief Nwodo, I apologize for interrupting you again, but do you think that all this separatist and political agitation laced with the inter-ethnic intolerance that you've talked about is likely to feed into that election in 2023 as different regions effectively battle to take over the presidency?
Well, it's going to be a major issue in the next campaign, because definitely those of us in the Southeast are going to campaign robustly to have the president, and would like to know why other people would like to have it. And I know that we are in a position where we think we have rallied 4 out of the 6 geopolitical zones of this country to support a president from the Southeast, because we have a strong case. I also want to say that to put a stop to ethnic agitations and making ethnic agitations a cardinal point of our politics and our day-to-day life in Nigeria, we need to unite this country and unite it effectively. Therefore, unity is critical for our next election and going forward after that election. And therefore, every effort must be made for us to begin to talk about things that will unite us, things that will bring unity back to our Nigeria, things that will bring reduce political tension and increase economic enterprise and liberate us from a very poor economic situation that we find ourselves in at this time. These are the things that should concern us. And where will we find that? The answer to me is obvious. And I hope that as we move along, it will become obvious to others that that is the way to go. It is the way of justice. It is the way of equity. It is the way of fairness. It is the way to restore unity to our country and the way to improve our economic future.
Chief Okwesilieze Nwodo, former chairman of the opposition People's Democratic Party and former governor of Enugu State, I am hugely grateful to you for the time that you've taken to talk with us today. Thank you very much indeed. That's it for this edition of the Arise interview. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja and Enugu, bye-bye and thank you for watching.